Well, this is a little mind teaser for you. This has to do with perspective and how we look at things. So I happen to be reading a very prestigious journal in cellular biology called Cell, and lo and behold, I found this interesting commentary article entitled MDMA as a probe and treatment for social behaviors. Now, what is MDMA? It's methylenedioxymethamphetamine, which is known in the street as ecstasy. We all know this has been a Schedule I drug for which it's been classified as having no value. It was a serious, serious problem for individuals that were consuming it and producing all sorts of overdose responses. So it has a wholly negative perspective in the social id. But yet these investigators, psychopharmacologists, said, now just a second, let's look at what this compound, this amphetamine derivative, does in the human nervous system. And it turns out what it does is it increases compassion, it increases empathy, and it has an effect on a feeling of kindness. And therefore, it has been labeled an empathogen. Now look at that as a perspective. We go from, on one side, it being a drug of abuse with no demonstrated value, a Schedule I, only a toxin, to the other side, it having an effect, this one molecule, on the nervous system so that the impact, its affect on human behavior is empathy, understanding, kindness, warmth, lovingness. Now what does that say about our nervous system? It's pretty amazing when you think about it, isn't it? That a single small molecule, chemical in our brain can change us from PTSD to empathetic and to sensitive. Small modifications, therefore, in the way that our body manufactures these neurochemicals can have dramatic effects in modulating mood, mind, memory, behavior, and our affect. And so these investigators are saying, although this is a synthetic derivative that you don't find normally in brain chemistry, could it be used for probing this pathway of empathetic behavior? And can we find natural empathogens, ways to introduce this so that the body produces its own array of natural chemicals that would induce then this type of kindness behavior? They actually even go on to say that in this particular time, both nationally and internationally, what is more important than elucidating the mechanism in our brains that generate empathy, openness, and the most positive of social experiences? And that maybe this molecule, when properly explored, could help us understand how to open these pathways, not dependent upon drugs, but actually finding how we increase our empathy through activation of the neural pathways that give rise to these neurochemicals that do regulate those behaviors. It's a very, very interesting perspective, isn't it, when we juxtapose that against just the concept of a Schedule I drug producing abusive behavior, addiction, and being a problem. So how do we really understand where our mood, mind, memory, and behavior comes from as it relates to the necessity for enhancing our empathetic outlook?